Before anyone starts freaking out, I'm not talking about the regular PTs, just the PT-7657. To say the regular PTs are a problem would be laughable. The 7657 is a completely different story. It's the top reward for this battle pass season, and as is usually the case, Gaijin made it extremely powerful. This is mostly done to attract buyers. On release, it had a BR of 7.0. Most people could already tell it's going to be extremely under-tiered, but it wasn't changed. After people got their hands on it and clubbed for a while, it was moved up, but only to 7.3. This has done little if anything to resolve the issue. It's incredibly strong for a number of reasons. First and foremost, the gun. It has a 57mm automatic cannon, one that can fire one round every half second. With a ready rack of 20 rounds, you will rarely get caught replenishing during a fight. Unlike other tanks that have automatic cannons, the PT doesn't have low damage. It fires APHE, which often only takes 1 or 2 shots to kill. The rounds have good penetration and angle performance, enough that you often don't need to flank a target. It has a laser rangefinder as well, so long-range engagements are pretty much trivial. What really sets it apart is the stabilizer. It has a dual-axis stabilizer. Most of the tanks you fight don't have stabilizers at all. Before they can get their gun on target, you can just break their barrel. If you're up tiered against the PT, and you're fighting it one-on-one, there is practically no way for you to win. You pretty much have to catch them off guard. It seems pretty obvious then, that it shouldn't be fighting vehicles like the Tiger 2P. I don't agree with using service states for balancing arguments, but the disparity here is ridiculous. It only went into service in 2006, but can fight tanks from the 40s. Something needs to be done about it. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who disagrees with that statement, but people can't seem to agree on how it should be balanced. Placing it at a higher BR seems like the most straightforward solution, right? Some disagree. The thinking is that at a higher BR, it would be facing more Cold War tanks which have less armor than World War II vehicles. Since the gun is relatively low penetration, it's disproportionately affected by thicker armor. So supposedly, it would perform better at a higher BR, not worse. This reasoning isn't new. It's been applied to other vehicles in the past, especially the Falcon. I don't really agree, so I decided to test it myself. I brought the PT in an 8.3 lineup. I don't think it would go that high, but it was a good way to ensure I would face more difficult opponents. In the case I got a full down tier, I would only be facing other 7.3 vehicles. The results of the first match were interesting. Turns out that was pretty much a full down tier, so it honestly didn't tell me much. I guess it says that 7.3 vehicles aren't much of a challenge for it, but we already knew that. It also drove home that PT nukes don't count, because I was playing like garbage and still got one. After a couple days of playing, I managed to get enough up tiers to form a conclusion. Overall, I do think the up tiers were more difficult, but not difficult enough that they were unfair. First of all, armor is all well and good, but if the PT is getting the first shot off anyway, it doesn't matter. He's going to disable you before he can shoot, making your armor ineffective. When it comes to countering the PT, the key is having better reaction times, faster turret traverse, stabilizers, that kind of thing. Cold War MBTs have much better reaction times, so they're better at countering the PT, and thanks to thermals, they're more likely to notice when flanking. Second, it is true that World War II tanks usually have better armor overall, but Cold War tanks will usually have more effective frontal armor. The PT has enough penetration that side armor doesn't really matter. Cold War tanks also do more damage against PTs. They usually fire either Heat or Sabo. Heat will almost always overpressure the crew, and Sabo does decent spall damage. The primary round used by World War II tanks, APHE, gets most of its damage from high explosive filler. Problem is, the PT's armor is so thin that APHE doesn't fuse. If I had to choose a new BR for the PT, I would pick 8.0. I think that 8.3 is perhaps a bit too harsh. If moving it to 8.0 isn't enough, Gaijin could introduce an overheating mechanic for the gun. Anyway, that's all I have here today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.